picked up my big Azure order for my family of 7, and I'm going to show you today what we got. Hi friends, I'm Jess from the blog siloandsage.com, and here we talk about all things homestead, homeschool, handmade, homemaking, all things home. And I love to share my Azure Standard hauls because number one, I love to watch grocery hauls on YouTube. I don't know about you, but it is actually something I really enjoy. I love to see what other people buy. It gives me some great ideas, and I love to help other families buy foods in bulk, especially organic foods that they might not be able to buy locally, and keep it on a budget. And if you are a large family like mine, you know that that can be difficult. And it can be expensive, and Azure Standard is one of the best places that I have found to buy bulk and organic foods, and foods that I know are going to be good quality and that I can put in my pantry and put in my fridge and put in my kids' bellies that are going to help nourish them and to help me have a mostly from scratch kitchen without spending a bajillion dollars. So before I show you all the things that I got, I want to tell you a couple things in case you're not familiar with Azure Standard. So Azure Standard is an online buying co-op where you go in with a bunch of people in your local area and you order whatever you want to order, and then everything from that local group gets delivered to a drop site. And so everybody goes on the same day. Ours is in a church parking lot. It could be anywhere that your group has decided. And you pick it all up at the same time. It comes off of a refrigerated truck. You can get refrigerated and frozen items. We get a lot of our grains from there, bulk grains. It's one of the best places that I have found that I can buy bulk organic produce and bulk grains and gluten-free grains. It's the best place that I've found to buy a 25-pound bag of gluten-free flour. I cannot find it anywhere else at this good of a price. I will link my playlist that if you want to see a few other Azure hauls that I've done, you can go and watch those after you're done watching this. But I love buying from Azure, partly because they're a family-owned business. It's really because of Azure Standard that I don't really have to go to the grocery store much anymore. I do Azure Standard pretty much every month, and I pick up a lot of our staples through Azure. And I do a Costco run, usually every other month. Occasionally I'll do something else to fill in, like I might fill in with some extra produce from Aldi, or I really don't ever go to our local like Kroger store because it's way more expensive than Aldi and Costco, and especially with a family of 7, there's the portion sizes that we can get at Azure and at Costco just make a huge difference for our budget. And then obviously I'm growing things in my garden and preserving the things that I can, and I will buy a lot of things locally. Like I buy all of our meat locally. We have our own eggs from our own chickens. I do a lot of produce. I buy apples and things when they're in season. I try to buy a lot of fruit and produce locally. But Azure is great for when things are out of season, like this big box of apples. We do buy a lot of apples even when they're out of season from Azure because they stay really well out there in their facilities. They do a really great job of storing them, and they're organic, and I can buy them in bulk and all that. But it's just been a game changer for us and our grocery buying.
Here's an overview of everything that we got this month from Azure Standard. So remember, we are a family of 7. I have 5 boys, including teenage boys who are runners. So we eat a lot of food, and we have some dietary needs also, like gluten-free, and I have a family member who just went dairy-free. So some of these are staple items that we get every month, and some aren't. These are some gluten-free bagels that we were trying for the first time. I'll admit that they are not as good as the gluten-free bagels I used to get from Aldi, but they stopped carrying those, so this is kind of all I have right now. We got some Rudy's organic sourdough bread. I used to just buy 1 case of regular bread for my kids who aren't gluten-free, but this month I bought 2. I also bought the Rudy's whole wheat bread. It comes frozen and we freeze it until they're ready to use it. It just saves me from baking a lot of bread, especially in the summer when it's really hot. My kids eat a lot of fruit, so I like to keep a lot of canned fruit on hand. This time we got Azure's brand of pineapple chunks and a couple flats of pear slices. This is a new buy for us. The brand of butter that we usually get was out of stock, so I tried this brand. I got both salted butter and unsalted. I freeze this, but this is the same brand as the cream cheese that I really like. Speaking of cream cheese, here it is, Sierra Nevada brand. This is a must buy. It is excellent. And more cheese. We buy some for shredding and for eating on grilled cheese and quesadillas, and also cheese for pizzas. We like our cheese in Wisconsin. I have one kiddo who's gluten-free, and so am I, so I like to buy this Rudy's brand of gluten-free bread. It's pretty much the best gluten-free bread that I have found. I've been trying to eat a lot more protein, and this cottage cheese is really helping me. I put it in smoothies. I have put it in like spaghetti sauce. I kind of put it everywhere. I also like the same brand, Nancy's, in this organic plain yogurt. Now, we make a lot of yogurt, but sometimes it's nice to just have some on hand for when I'm not making it. This cashew milk yogurt is new to us. I have a family member who's recently dairy-free, so we're just trying it out to see how we like it. I typically buy one big box of apples from Azure every month. We eat a lot of fruit here in our house, and what apples we don't eat, like just for fresh eating, I will either can them into some quick applesauce or just cook them into something.
One thing I want to point out, because a lot of people get into shopping at a place like Azure Standard and they buy bulk foods and then they don't have anywhere to put them. Having a place to store your bulk food items is incredibly important. So either you need to freeze them or can them or find some sort of storage that works well and isn't going to let your food spoil. So I often buy these Gamma Seal lids from Azure. They are a great price from Azure. They are probably one of the best prices that I have found for these particular Gamma Seal lids. You can get them on Amazon, but I definitely think they're a little bit more expensive. And then I buy these food grade buckets from Tractor Supply. Tractor Supply has the best price that I've seen on these 5-gallon buckets. And I put the Gamma Seal lids on them, and then I can store my greens in them. My favorite way to store them, though, is in these bins. Now, if you have seen my bulk food storage video, you may have seen these before. I've actually probably referenced them in several videos because they are my favorite. So this one, we just finished up the rice in there. They're marketed as dog food containers, but they work really, really well for long-term food storage and for just bulk grains. So I use them for flours or rice. What else do I put in these? Oats. And then we just rotate through them. We typically are using these for foods that we are using on a regular basis, not just foods that we're storing long term. Foods that we're storing long term, we might put in a Mylar bag first before we put in something like this or a 5-gallon bucket, because we want them to last a really long time. But my goal isn't as much long-term storage, like 20, 30 years. I'm not as worried about that as like maybe 3 to 5 years is more what I am thinking about, and just having enough food supply for my family if, you know, there was an emergency or something happened. I have a lot of videos about building a prepared pantry and doing it on a budget, so I will link to those below. But it's just really important that you, when you start buying foods in large quantities and buying foods in bulk, that you know what you're going to do with them, that you're not going to end up with, you know, a 40-pound box of apples and then half the apples go bad because you didn't know what to do with them. So you have to figure out, am I going to freeze them, dry them, am I going to can them, or store them some way that they're going to last for long term?
We really like Azure's cashews. I got some roasted salted cashews just for fresh eating because my kids really like those, and so do I. But then we also got some cashews for making cashew milk and like a cashew cheese sauce for dairy-free mac and cheese. This giant box of frozen bananas is one of my favorite things to get from Azure because my kids eat bananas in like 5 seconds. So this is great for smoothies and for baking. And then we pretty much always have bananas on hand. I love the Nancy's organic sour cream. We pretty much get one flat of these every single month. I also got some more pineapple chunks, and I also got some big cans of pumpkin puree. I love to bake with pumpkin. I think that it really helps gluten-free baking to be not quite as dry or as gummy. You can see that the pumpkin puree is a lot larger, and so there's a few more cans. This big bag of carrots is considered juice carrots, but I don't really juice them that often. Sometimes I do, but usually I use them for fermenting or cooking or just fresh eating. It's just a really great price because you get 25 pounds for $25. Now, we typically buy our milk directly from the farm, but I wanted to have something that I could keep in my freezer for the times when the farm is low on milk, like during calving season. And this turned out to be a great option. We tried it last month. You can see the cream level on top. This is A2 milk. I highly recommend it, or maybe don't buy it so that it never goes out of stock for me. And then I also just grabbed a bag of organic beets just because I usually can't find those locally.
Well, that's what we got this month. If you are interested in seeing more bulk grocery hauls, I have some Azure Standard hauls and some Costco hauls that I will link below. You can also head to siloandsage.com/prepare to see more resources for building a prepared pantry, storing bulk foods. My kids are screaming outside playing a game where they literally throw burritos at each other. I don't know if you've ever played that game, Throw Burrito. They're obsessed with it, and they're literally throwing fake burritos at each other. I don't know how this is fun, but they love it. So if you want to find my resources for building a pantry and building a pantry on a budget and storing bulk foods, go to siloandsage.com/prepare. You can download my free guide there and find all of the other blog posts and resources and all of that. And I will also link my playlists with my other grocery hauls and all of my prepared pantry videos. And if you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, and I will see you soon in another video. And in the meantime, keep cultivating your home, friends. Bye.